Hello guys, and welcome back to Strategic Command World War II, World at War with our allied playthrough. In the last episode, we took care of the UK, preparing for a strike out towards Spain and Italy in the Mediterranean. We have begun the Indian invasion of Spain. Brest has turned into Brest, St. Malo, and then some, as the push towards Paris proceeds with very little difficulty so far, as the mostly garrisoning German corps here and otherwise fail to even remotely stop my slow, very slow, and yet methodical advance, utilizing our air power. The Greek front goes well, with reinforcements capable of providing more logistical support and less actual pressure for the home front Brits are set to start arriving. And then the Pacific is just going crazy, and I've covered that in the last couple episodes, so let's just look at the Soviet front, which is the main thing we have to look at right now. So, looking at the south, we have two encirclements. This one still actually has some supply, yet it is very vulnerable to attack. This one actually has two supply. Oh, because they've struck outwards off their city that ran out of supply, specifically to reach one that had two supply. That's why they did what they did. I see. Funny, yeah, because I moved the Mongolian cavalry corps forward to secure this city that they left undefended. Well, in that case, that's going to be pretty easy to deal with. I'm going to start by giving the 1st Guards heavy tanks here some elite reinforcements. Might as well. We want our units to be as strong as possible now that we don't need to actually move at a rapid pace, that is. We'll get infantry weapons upgrades in. We still have to spread these out all throughout our armies. There's still many of our units that just do not have these upgrades yet. So I will prioritize in every instant giving this upgrade to whomever can get it. So what do we have here? These corps are going to be a little limited in movement just due to the situation at hand. I'll go ahead and move the 2nd Light Tanks southwest to go take the city of Baikal that the enemies have left behind. This Stalingrad Corps does not actually have enough supply really up front to get its upgrades, because with 1, now 2, or 1 again, points where our HQ supply can't really get forward makes it a little hard to keep everything in supply, especially as with the widening front, we end up in a situation where we kind of need another HQ. The one in the south is our best one, rating 7 at the moment. For everyone else, the one in the south has rating 9. We have many other rating 7 HQs. I may want to look at recruiting one of those to help fill in the gaps, because the Soviets have ass loads of units. Speaking of these ass loads of units, another corps has made itself available, and I'm unsure if I want that up north, where we have a pretty good push going, or if I want that down south, where we're running into the most enemy resistance. Either way, more bodies would certainly help. So for now, I will deploy that in the south. Yeah, that's what I'll do. But for what I'll do first is I'll move the 1st Guards army forward up to this town. And then we'll drop the corps off down here so it can support our push as it moves forward. If we have plenty of anything, we certainly have plenty of air. Purchasing the HQ would be very expensive, even with just AA upgrades. It would be $390, so that would be a huge investment. But it could be very handy to help the front. Another 2 HQs on either side would be, or another 1 HQ, would be very, very handy, certainly. So I think I will try to get that this turn. It may slow down the advance, but with so many rank 7s, I might as well invest a little bit. We'll go ahead and purchase 1 new HQ with the highest ranking general that I can give it. That leaves us 331 to operate with, which, since we have gotten most of our upgrades done, is more than enough. We do have some more infantry weapon upgrades to do, and research still has room for another 125 research. However, that's just artillery weapons right now and amphibious warfare. Nothing too important, not as important as getting more HQs up. So I will prioritize that last. We'll get the 18th Army here and this corps up to snuff with its new weapons. Is there anyone in the rear? Nope, all these guys are upgraded. That's wonderful. Some closer to the front might not be. No. Pretty much everyone over here on this front is upgraded. Well, that is fantastic. I'll go ahead and reinforce the Baltic fighters, chilling out in Memel. Although we have three fighters on every front. That's really, really nice. If we had a spread like that of HQs, that would be even better. Because as we see, this one can't even get attached to an HQ because we just don't have enough. This one is being prioritized. And hell, even this one isn't connected, but it's at least on a town, which probably appears to be helping it. But we do have a very important push here that we need to focus on pushing. Well, the cavalry corps defending Danzig is pretty much able to be slaughtered by our corps up front, so I'll go ahead and begin that assault from its side of the river, if there is a river going through here. It's not always too easy to tell. And then we can maybe finish it off with this corps. Alright, and that's it. Danzig dead, another enemy defeated. Now we just need someone to walk in and take Danzig. I will reinforce this corps, no point leaving somebody with less strength than they could otherwise have. The first tanks unit down here cannot actually be reinforced. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it to Danzig. It could not be reinforced because supply was not reaching out here enough. If I claim Danzig with this, and then, let's see, then I can move it back out. I might have been able to do this with the HQ, but I believe stepping onto a hex in the first time takes more. I don't really know. I'm just going to bring the HQ all the way west to Danzig. And now we can see this line really stretching out. This is what I mean when I say, damn, we could really use some new HQs in the area. So that's why I am prioritizing purchasing them, while remembering these guys have absolutely nothing supporting them either. Not that they need it, it's mainly the front that needs it. USSR has the troops, it has plenty of troops. What it needs now is some more HQs to really fill in the gaps here. So these two units have gotten their strikes in. Let's go send this one down here. We want to go see what the enemies have waiting for us in every direction. We might as well use these uninjured corps. They've left the Ostwall fortifications over here completely undefended, and defending Stettin over here, the final town before Berlin from this push, is just a fighter unit. There's undoubtedly going to be enemies actually on Berlin. For now, I think I'll actually just push this tank unit forward. As we see, we could do amazing damage to this enemy fighter group, dealing 4 damage and taking none. Totally worth pushing in that direction. Truly, this is where the Soviets' biggest weakness right now shines, and it's the fact that they don't have mobility upgrades. Even if they did, it would be so expensive. We'd be sitting here for a long time just trying to get it. Due to a lack of mobility upgrades, however, this has put us in an interesting situation where we have this amazing push that can go right towards Berlin, and we hardly have the logistical capacity to actually do anything with it, which sucks a lot. This mechanized is not staying here, I will tell you that much right now. We will move it forward, see what we can see. Oh, we're getting really close. Let's send the first light tanks forward, dealing 4 damage to the fighter group at Stettin. And now let's move the mechanized forward a little bit more. I still can't see over there, but there's no way there's going to be nothing over here. Might as well go take a look. Yep, enemy contact with a corps, which is chosen to fight us, German corps, which takes up our attack. But as we see, the road to Stettin is clear, and all that remains at Berlin is a corps. Most of their units are stretched out down here, desperately trying to contain British and Soviet advances around the initial primary Axis invasion point into Ukraine. It's not going to go very well for them. I might as well take this army. I don't even know where to send it. I guess I'll send it around the south side. It's a fair enough place to send it. We'll send the tanks around the north side where we have a nice route heading into German territory. Nothing we can do with these guys, just drive them past Königsberg. We have 10 action points with the armored train, meaning the armored train can make it all the way up here, basically close enough to reinforce and make sure this mechanized unit hopefully doesn't get cut off. But even if it does, it has a whole bunch of other units coming from behind it that can definitely help it out here. This is where we could definitely use more units, that's for sure. Not that I regret putting that corps down there, by the way. There's not a lot of resistance over here. What we need is we need more mobile units. We need more mobility in general to deal with what the Germans have put in front of us. This Vladivostok Corps has an easy attack on some German tactical bombers at Modlin, so we're going to go ahead and attack that, deal as much damage, make them freak out as much as possible is definitely an effective way to accomplish things here. The second anti-tank can attack the entrenched panzer tanks, trading equal blows 4 for 4, and since panzers are worth a lot more than a fucking anti-tank is, this is the perfect situation. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. And this is while having inferior anti-tank to their panzer upgrades. Now, it didn't work out that way. We dealt 3 and lost 4. However, that is still a gigantic win of damage to inflict to maybe make the enemies here think a little bit differently. We can also basically wipe out this garrison on the front with the core that's next to it in one shot, so that's absolutely fantastic. Which opens up the ability for our 16th Army to go ahead off Brest-Litovsk, move up to the enemy medium bombers at Lublin, dealing 4 damage and taking none, which is wonderful. These panzers are blocking off a lot of my ability to actually move forward, so I'll move forward with the corps that has already attacked, pushing up towards Warsaw. I think this is a pretty good idea as things stand. Now, we're about to get a little blocked off due to our route being blocked by a panzer, however. Let's see. This panzer is injured. It might try to escape, but the zones of control simply might stop it as well. I do want as many units just heading towards Berlin as opposed to getting bogged down here against all these enemy units. I will take the 11th Army and send it northwest. I will take the Vladivostok Corps, which does not need to stay where it is, as I can get other units in there. But I'm not quite sure what to do with them. Supply over here is okay, but it's not going to be improving, certainly, anytime soon. Sadly, it's still raining over here, limiting our overall advance with the current setup. That sucks. Well, we'll take this rifle corps and we'll send it down. Something's going to need to stay here to block off the path, because the HQ is going to follow the road down to Brest-Litovsk one way or another, as it's going to need to keep up. So with that moving up, we're still going to want to block this off somehow so it doesn't just walk right up to us. I guess I can do that with the 3rd Army here. That's probably a good blocking force, and just put the 1st anti-air in Brest-Litovsk proper, which allows me to take the 3rd Corps and march it a little more down south to make them panic from this direction, take the Moscow Corps, and move it up to this enemy anti-air. However, this anti-air is very entrenched, and assaulting it would be stupid. At the very least, we can make them feel fear for now. We'll take the Western fighters here and go plop them on this river area next to the HQ and the anti-air, just so it's safe while moving up, while maybe still not being on a town proper. We have a lot of progress that's going to need a lot of pushing. Also, looking at the fighter coverage all the way in the west here, it just doesn't exist. So we'll take the 1st Red Fighters on Wilno, move those up to Königsberg, and even that is not going to be enough. So I'll go one step further, and I will send it into the forests next to Danzig, near the HQ, so that it can provide air cover for everything over here. If this doesn't get the Germans scrambling, then the Germans are going to lose their capital way faster than expected. They do have 90% national morale. I'm sure, well, actually, I don't know. Do they have any alternate capitals? None of their own. But losing Berlin's going to be a huge loss for them no matter what. They don't own France. Italy owns France. So if we look at what they do own, you know, like Yugoslavia and having miners over here, they really might surrender once we take Berlin. Now, how much will they try to protect Berlin? I'm not sure. But it's very extra, super duper clear to me that Europe is really not going to be the problem. If anything is, it's going to be Japan, just because they're going to hold out a little bit longer. With that in mind, I'll definitely make sure to not invest any further in new units for the Americans that will be heading east. Instead, what is your supply? Well, I guess I've already moved you this turn. We haven't started a new turn. Instead, I will focus all my money with America into the Pacific, because that's where they will need it. And I probably can turn the British fleet here against the Japs as well. The thing is, the Jap Air Force is still so strong. I don't want to send my Navy in, because the Air Force can hurt my navies without a massive carrier force, but you still need ships to protect that. With good AA capabilities on the escorts, which we don't really have, just trying to overwhelm with Chinese power here, maybe trying to get some other things in on the other islands could be worthwhile, but as of right now, that's just not going to be the focus. Also in the north, we have the 1st Corps that can start transitioning west. We have the 13th Army, which can't get very far, so you know what, yeah, let's just do ourselves a favor and make them freak out more. Let's cut this rail and road line with the Vladivostok Corps and send the 13th Army up to assist, attack the enemy tactical bombers sitting on this town, and what do you know? We've actually secured Modlin, which is a fortress with a lot of national morale value and a lot of supply. Let's see, Soviets have 509. What if I go step on this with an anti-tank? 509? Still 509, amazingly. Maybe it came out of the German side. I don't know. Maybe it comes out later. But we have recaptured Modlin. It's now occupied, however, because everything was split up here, and apparently the Polish can't resist by themselves. We don't want to give this tank anywhere too good to go now that we have it completely surrounded. For the time being, we want it to just kind of sit there and, you know, be a tank. Have it move off the town and break its entrenchments, ideally, and then we'll be able to make some pretty quick work of it, and that would be nice. Everything else here has done everything else it can do, unfortunately, but that means it's time to go take a look somewhere else, where we have more and more kills and such able to be set up on enemy Germans around us. Namely, this mechanized unit, as we're not trying to break through all this German stuff in Romania. In fact, we should just be happy that it has decided that staying down here is somehow a good idea. So we'll take our mechanized on the front and use it to attack the enemy corps that has secured Brasov from behind us, taking a little bit of damage, unfortunately. Nothing much I can do about that. We're going to reinforce this corps on the front. It still needs its upgrades, but it's doing an amazing job at holding the front. We can't move very far with the paratroopers here, and they have an operational range of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I dropped them, they could get a lot further. However, if that would be smart is another question entirely. For now, I'll just move the fighters up, and I'll move the paratroopers up normally. The advance is going too fast to make good use of the paratroopers, to be honest. It's going way too fast. This corps is able to move up, so we're going to get that moving up. Let's see what else we have here. That's right, you can't upgrade, you don't have the capacity to do so, but you can move south to attack this enemy corps at Brasov, not dealing any damage, unfortunately. And I can upgrade this cavalry corps that's taking Cluj. Mongolian cavalry corps is now level 2 infantry weapons, as they should all be. We can take the first cavalry corps here. Well, actually, we might just want to let it entrench and protect the HQ, since the HQ is pretty damn close to the front with the strategy that I've been exercising here. Let's see. This corps of ours can get some good shots in on the Italians with a prepared strike, so we'll go ahead and do that. How's supply down here? It's okay. We'll go ahead and push them up as well to make them even more afraid. We can see their rear is becoming increasingly undefended as they lose troops and have to spread them out. The Allies are collapsing in on them years before they were supposed to, and not running into too much troubles. Really, it's Japan that's giving all the troubles. Even with huge success in China, but still being threatened in ways that they historically never were threatened. So supply down here is not going to be the easiest thing. Supply for this mechanized is not even the easiest thing. Breaking through here is an impossible task. So what we'll work on instead is breaking through here to allow our supply lines to flow further. Dealt 3 damage to the enemy corps sitting here. Let's attack with the 1st Guards Army. Dealt another 2 damage. Not receiving any damage at all so far. Found some more infantry weapons to hand out. Ooh. Got an army that needs some more infantry weapons and needs reinforcements as well, but... Oh, and some more armies in similar situations. Let's focus on handing out infantry weapons because we need better guns. We can do some good damage to this enemy army here, and I think I will. We'll take the 43rd Army and go ahead and attack with its level 1 infantry weapons, dealing 3 damage and losing none. It's rather amazing. We don't have anyone else to really play off their glories with great efficiency, but we have a corps that can go ahead and get a shot in, dealing 1 damage, taking 1 damage. Alright, fair enough trade. Let's go with the other rifle corps now, dealing 2 damage, chasing them off the village, and taking no damage. Nice. That allows us to move this other corps forward to secure the village and more behind our lines. We have a corps open to move here. We'll move it forward along the road and attack the enemy Brand corps, dealing 2 damage and taking no damage. So going pretty well. I'll use the mechanized here to attack backwards into that town across the river. National morale bonus, hell yeah. And then we can use the 1st Red Banner Army to secure this town, which should allow supplies from the HQ to flow up much better. Our HQ is going to need to move up. It's not currently on a town, which is not ideal. But that means if I'm going to move it up, I don't need to really make sure that it stays on a town. Because if it's not on one right now, why would it need to stay on one? We'll move the 43rd Army a little bit out of harm's way here. The engineers, I don't know what the hell they've been doing. They've just been serving as a deterrent up here. But that deterrent isn't very needed anymore. We'll just move them south down into the forest. We'll move the Soviet HQ here up around the road. The AA can move up behind the rest of these units. And what else do we have that we can utilize? Well, you cannot reinforce, unfortunately. There is no point pushing up over here right now. But you know what we can do? We can swap the 21st Army in to replace the units on the front so we can give them infantry weapon upgrades. I was tempted to do it with the stronger one, but these ones also need reinforcements, so I figured we could do 2 in 1 by getting them off the front right now. With all that said and done, we actually have just enough MPPs remaining as the USSR, with about nothing else left to do with it, than to get that one research I was talking about, or to transfer the Mongolian Corps to the front. I think I will prioritize the research, since it just worked out so well to get us into this position. Let's go ahead and research that one and only artillery weapons research. Can't really harm anything since we're winning the war so just undebatedly this early into the war. The only other thing I have to do for this turn is I'm going to go ahead to diplomacy over here. I remember India actually has a chit. Now this might make it so it's harder for them to load everything up next turn, but seeing as Europe's falling apart, I don't even think it's going to be that important. So what we'll do with India here is we will go ahead and put their other shit into Communist China. I know I said there was little to no point in that. However, look at India's amount of contacts it can put any points into at all, with one of them still in Afghanistan due to my earlier terrible choices. India's best shot to help anything on this list is to simply invest into Communist China. So I'll go ahead and spend that 50 MPPs just to get it done with, and with that, we have a nice full turn, having done everything we can. There is still the potential for some losses over here in the Pacific, but not big ones, not big ones. And with special forces and such pretty much ready to get deployed, simply only waiting while I put money elsewhere for the time being, due to us being in no rush to really get much done, I don't think there's much the Axis can do to hurt us this upcoming turn. But I'm ready for them to prove me wrong as we pass things over to the AI and see what happens. British Royal Marines attack shipping at Bordeaux. You don't even need to do that. I've been doing that. Finland allies 19%. Well, welcome to the war, Finland. It's over. The war in Europe is almost over. But I'm happy I finally got you into this. Beverage report published by UK calling for greater social security. Interesting. I've definitely learned a lot about diplomacy in this game and how to better use it, and I think whenever I try to learn the Axis side, doing an Axis versus AI playthrough, which I cannot tell you when this will really occur, I think you'll see a lot of improvement in my diplomacy game compared to how I did it here. But then again, I think the Allies also just have a harder time with diplomacy, but I think even then, my next time as the Allies, we'll have some good improvement. A lot of text finishing for everybody. Oh, the USSR finally has armored warfare. Yes! I will never make the mistake of not researching that for them early again. China's even getting mobility and AA upgrades. Oh, that'll be really, really handy right now, given what we're going up against. America has some good stuff. Only the Australian convoys being raided, and likely being raided over by Australia proper, so nothing I'm going to be able to do about that with what I have spread around at the moment. Otherwise, everything here looks fine. Man, China's collecting over 400 now. Oh, no, they're not. Well, actually, yeah, they are. Well, that's pretty impressive that they've come this far. All right. Hit me, Axis, with your best shot. Show me what you can do on your deathbed. I wonder when this will end, because I do have to wipe them out completely. If I want to win a decisive victory, I have to get all their capitals. The battleships are bombarding me. Is this the one that was just up north? Is this that battleship? Ooh, they actually got the cruiser out of there. The destroyers are all running. Or the submarines. For some reason I keep messing up those names. I'm hearing a lot of operating going on. Meaning they are trying to replace things to accommodate my advance. But a lot of things are getting stuck on the front. I don't like how an Italian went southwest and then appeared in the northwest. Do they have the ability to somehow move and then operate? That'd be weird if so. Japanese are still just bombarding the UK's MPPs over here, but it's really not that important. Oh, you're going after the ports now, are you? Might want to put some anti-air on those, at least. Yeah, I can't operate planes over there, but you know something I could do that I'm just remembering that I could do is I could put anti-air on these locations and make it harder for them to carry this out. It'd be a lot cheaper than moving a plane to that region. They're really trying to bombard this mechanized unit quite a lot. This, to them, is apparently the key to repelling our offensive. There's a lot of back and forth over here. No successful bombing in terms of kills, but disrupting our readiness and morale, certainly. Our anti-air repelling enemy bombing up here. They actually moved back the front line that they did have against us. Germans going on an offensive against our cores, but to what effect, really? They are choosing to continue to engage us from out here, when if I was them, I'd be sending way more to Berlin. As you can see, they have sent a lot. A fighter, paratroopers, a corps. Like they put a new corps over there. They have an HQ. They're putting up a defense, but it's not going to be enough. It's honestly a matter of up to 3 turns until there's enough Soviets over here to just kill anything at Berlin. Your days are numbered. Italy will last longer than Germany, for fuck's sake. Because they just put too much into fighting Ukraine. Or in Ukraine. Ooh, okay, they're sending more stuff up here, more cores. But again, it's not going to be enough. It's just going to weaken them elsewhere. Soviet morale improves as the war on the Eastern Front continues. Finland prepares for war. Yeah, a little too late, but I'll take them. Germany launches Operation Panzerfaust to overthrow Admiral Horthy and secure Hungary. Oh. Oh, wow, the Finns start with a lot of stuff. With German support, Ferencs, oh god, Arrow Cross movement takes power in Hungary. Okay. Finland joins the Allies. Operation Tempest is launched to support the Warsaw Rising. Interesting. Dealing damage to the enemies here. Warsaw Rising, Polish Home Army attacks the German occupier. Okay. Ooh, that dealt such good damage. Sad those Poles will just get occupied by the USSR after this in history and have, in their own words, a worse occupier than the Nazis ever were. And the winter's really kicking in now in Europe, now that we're pushing into January. Singapore major port damage from bombing. Yeah, we might want to upgrade that kind of stuff over there. Enemy submarine in the Labrador Sea, North Atlantic. Garrison in, well, next to Tokyo. Okay, a lot of garrisons are starting to appear near the front because they're just running out of units. Heavy cruiser, it's not going to do much. Garrison on Rome. Didn't they have a corps there? The Essex carrier has arrived. That's fantastic. As well as more Soviet units. Yep. Winter's really kicked in, which is going to slow down my own advances and hurt my own attack rates. However, it's only a matter of time at this rate before Berlin falls, and then everything else with it. Which makes the necessity of an American landing look even less likely. I'll have to think about it, because it's really not going to be needed at all at this rate. Even though I've now paid for a couple of transports, the long-range transports are holding their supply. For whatever reason, this one just only had 9. But they are holding their supply, meaning they are essentially permanent. I could just repurpose literally all of this to go somewhere else. I keep repurposing left, right, as I keep being unsure of what's going to last longer. I'll think about it before we start the next episode, as I'll have to take on their turn. Because, shit, dude. The war in Europe is almost won. There's plenty of Axis remaining, don't get me wrong, but there's not a lot they can do at this rate. And even Japan's having troubles. Shit. Well, we'll figure it out. Let me know how you think this is going to end. If I'm going to win, which Axis country do you think is going to fall first? And by when do you think we will win this war at the current rate that we're going? For now, though, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.